Okay, so here we are continuing in our Illustrator fundamentals, and we've looked at creating shapes, manipulating shapes. Then we just recently looked at outlining text, manipulating it. The next thing I want to show you is combining some of image and shape into these things called compound shapes. And I'm going to show you just very simply what that means. So I'm going to create two objects, one right on top of each other. Okay. Just right here. So I've created one rounded rectangle that has a green fill and an orange stroke. And right here, maybe I'll add a color so you can see this. Actually, created a red rectangle, squared corner shape. Now, if I want to make it look like it's see-through, kind of like an O, right? The letter O, you can see through the middle of the O. I can, knowing that this background is white, I can change the color so it's white. And it actually looks like it's looking through to the background. Okay, I'm gonna make this shape just right here. So this is helpful if you want to kind of fake this, and you don't need to use it multiple times. But eventually, perhaps in a future project, you are going to be needing a shape that is see-through. Okay, so I'm going to select both of these items just so you can see it. And I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste it. Oops, let's see. I'm going to select it, just lining it up so it's even. And I'm going to copy it, Command C, I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to just set this aside and I'll show you the difference. So if I select both of these, right now these objects are behind this pink shape. I'm going to go to select, I'm going to go to object, arrange, and I'm going to bring it to front. Okay, so you can do this so far, but I'm going to do it in this one. And as you can see, the illusion, right, where it looks like this shape looks through to the background because it's white. When I actually move it on top of that, a different color background, then I have to change the color of that inside shape so it looks like it matches. But then if I have to move it again, right, I am constantly changing this so it always matches. So you can do that if you have, one or two shapes and you don't mind changing it. I'm just going to show you, for those interested, I'm showing you how to make this thing called a compound shape. And to do that, it actually makes these two objects work together and become one shape where you're able to see through it, just like the letter O or a donut. Okay, so this is our first sample, okay? The second one is exactly like this first one. I've got my one object and my other object on top of it. There's some kind of overlapping happening, okay? Then I'm going to select both of the objects. You have to select both. I'm going to go to Object, Compound Path, Make, okay? Very subtle, but you could see like that stroke that was on the outside, it actually was applied to the inside because you'll see it is now just one shape, right? Outside of that minor little difference, it looks exactly the same as this did, right? Okay, so the true test is I'm going to select both of them, and I'm going to make sure that these are arranged, bring to front. They're both in front, so they have to be in front of this pink shape. And I'm going to drag them in front of it. And do you see the difference? So this shape, it looked like it was see-through, but it wasn't. Now our new compound shape, it is. So no matter what background it is on, it will adjust because it is like the letter O, where it allows you to see through to the other side. Okay, so I'm just going to do that again. I'll do it with a couple other shapes. So you can do this with any shape. I'll make a circle this time. I'm going to change. I'm going to take away the stroke really quick. It doesn't matter about the stroke. The important part is the shape, right? And maybe this time I'm going to use an object that's my letter form, right? When I drag it on over here, you can see how the Y kind of disappears. Why is that? Right? It's because the object, the Y object, is behind that green circle. So it's still selected, I can see it. So I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Okay. So now I've got that object that looks like a letter form and the object itself. I'm going to select both. Right, they're both selected, and I'm going to go to Object, Compound Path, Make. Now, if I drag it over, it's see-through. I see that. It's a very helpful tool, this combining, this compound shape, creating that compound shape. So you can create a compound shape with any shape and any two objects, right? And we determined that the last time when we were making our outline type, that the type is when it's outlined, after it's outlined, it is a shape that looks like a letter form. You can't manipulate it anymore. It's probably the computer sees it just like a different object, right? We see it as a recognizable A, but the computer just sees it as if it was a star. I'm curious to see this one because of that negative space within it, so it might not work, but let's try. So I'm going to arrange it so I can bring one of the shapes to the front. Okay, I'm gonna select both of these objects. So I can click and drag over both of them with my selection tool. Let's see if it works. Compound path make. It does. Perfect. Then you can test it by putting a shape or a color right underneath it. And you can see if it shows through. So as long as the two objects are like, you have the outer object and this inner one, as long as this inner one stays within the bounds, the confines of that outer shape, you should be able to make a compound path. There we go. And you can change the color. Anything. Okay, so we're able to kind of make and look at compound paths with an object and an object, or a shape and a shape. And then we're able to make a compound path using an irregular object like an outlined letter and a simple shape, right? And the true test is if you hover over a different background, you can actually see the color through it. So practice those because you will need it for your assignment, but it's just practicing, all right? And in the next one, we're gonna one more, like two more things, and then you should be set, okay? Don't forget to save.